Guys, big news. It's my 100th episode. I'm so excited. Last week, obviously I kind of knew it was coming up. And then last week when I uploaded the episode and it was like F99, I was like, well, I'll be damned. We reached 100 episodes. I read before. I either read or listened. No, I must have listened to another podcast before. This is like a year ago or something. That said, if your podcast makes it to 100 episodes, then it's around to stay forever or something. Because 100 episodes, that's a long time. That's a lot of episodes. That's a lot of me talking. And we made it. And I'm really chuffed and I'm really excited. And I was thinking, what can I do? Like the 100th episode should be a little bit special. What can I talk about? What can we do wherever? And then I thought, actually, I would never have got to 100 episodes if it wasn't for you guys, if it wasn't people that listened. Like, if I'd only had 3 listeners every episode, one of them being my mother, obviously, would I have made it to 100? I don't know. I love it so much. But would I have made it religiously every week to 100 episodes if nobody listened? Probably not. So, yeah, thank you for getting us here. And I thought for the 100th episode, I'm just going to spin it back on you. So if you follow the Instagram, I might have put this, I think I put this on my personal one actually, at Sadie Maltby. I basically asked you guys for stories, anything you want to talk about. And then I asked your advice for one of the answers. So we've basically put the episode in your hands today. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We're bringing your dilemmas, your questions, your advice, your stories. And I'm really excited. It's a really nice little episode this week. And yeah, thank you so much for the people that's listened. If you found me recently, then hopefully you'll stick around. But for the people that have been listening since day one, I'm eternally grateful to you, especially, not that I'm amazing now at editing and stuff, but back then, oh my God, I could never even listen to an episode back. I think I would just cringe so much. So if you've been with me from the start, then yeah, thank you so much. And if you're new here, please remember to follow, subscribe, leave me a review, all the rest of it, because we want to get to 200 episodes, obviously. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, or again, if you've seen my Instagram, I've dyed my hair, which wasn't in time for the 100th episode, like it wasn't meant to be. Or was it? Because I didn't plan it, but the timing of it just so happened that I'm debuting my brown hair on the 100th episode. So after about 4 years of having blonde in my hair, I thought, it's just time to get it out. You just really fancy a change. Just give it new year, new hair, new me. And I was like, just take it out. My hairdresser was so surprised and he loves the blonde. Literally last time I went, he was like, this is your colour. Please don't ever go back brunette. And then I went in on the weekend and I was like, yeah, I want to change. I want it in brown. Anyway, hope you've all had a good week. And let's go straight in with the first topic request from somebody this week. And she just said, dating in my late 30s and still no children. Which is something that, as a woman, you just can't get out of. Because let me tell you, if you are not thinking about it, somebody else will bring it up for you. You could be sitting there in your late 30s, perfectly happy, perfectly not wanting kids, whether you're single or whether you're with a partner, wherever. I guarantee you, if you're a woman, you've been asked, when you're having kids, are you going to have kids? If you've got one, you're probably going to be asked, are you having another one? So it's something that, as a woman, I can relate to. I think everybody can. But it is something that obviously is on your mind because, unfortunately, we are, I don't want to use the word against the clock, but you can't have kids as a woman when you're too old, basically. There is a limit, whereas for men there isn't. Although, nobody wants an old father. I'm sure, well, I don't know, actually. Depends how rich they are. There, I said, we're all thinking it. Anyway, it is something that you think about. Now, I think I'm a little bit lucky, but I don't know yet because I haven't got kids, so it might be something that I should be worrying about. But my mother had me when she was 40, completely unplanned. There's 12 years between me and my sister. So she had me when she was 40, and my sister had my second nephew. She was younger than 40, and I can't do the math, but she was like late 30s. So like her friends had already had kids and stuff, and she said herself she was a little bit late. I've probably mentioned this before, I've also got a cousin who had her youngest child now, like at 40. So I feel like because I've been around women having kids when they're a little bit older, I haven't had the same stress that I see some people my age having. So for example, I went for dinner the other night with my friends and we were just talking about it. Literally, I hadn't even seen this message or anything, but it just came up in conversation because one of my friends is getting her fertility tested. So it was weird because I'd seen the ads all over Instagram even before she mentioned it. It's a company called Fertility. So that's obviously coming up now, and you can test your fertility and see basically, I think, how fertile you are and what, I don't fully know, but basically like what your eggs are looking like and stuff, I think. I don't know. So there's obviously there's things that you can do basically to test, you know, how worried you need to be really, because she was saying like if it comes back that my fertility's great, I'm not going to stress about it. But if it comes back and says that the chances are lower, wherever, then I'm going to start thinking about it. I've got another friend, the same thing. She's saying her health is a factor in it. And she's like, I have to have a child in the next 2 or 3 years because otherwise it's going to be worse for me as I get older. So basically, I think my point is it's a very common thing. And there are, like that test, she hasn't done it yet, and I don't know anyone that's done it, but I do think that's a really good thing if you're genuinely worried about your chances and stuff, and like how worried you've got to be, you can do tests. And I've also got another friend who is looking to work with a sperm donor. So she is single, and she wants to get like the IVF, insemination. I'm like butchering all these words, guys. Sorry. Science is like not my forte at all. But, you know, like a sperm donor type thing. So the point is that there's, firstly, lots of ways that you can have children if you can't conceive naturally. There's also adoption, which I know isn't for everyone. But like there are ways that you can do it. People have IVF, people have sperm donors, people put their eggs in... I was going to say in other people. Like, I really need to get my terminology right. In, what are they called? Surrogates. And I don't know if all this is possible for you. Obviously, all this stuff costs money. Although I was Googling when I was looking into this a little bit. Not enough, clearly, because I don't know any of the scientific terms. But when I was looking into this before, it does say that single women and women in same-sex relationships can have IVF treatment on the NHS. Hang on, let me get the exact thing up. Wow. Oh no, I did screenshot it. Okay. You can get it on the you can get IVF on the NHS if you have an identified cause of infertility, or if you've had 12 cycles of IUI, which is like the insemination, over at least 12 months. So this is all like the boring scientific stuff. But basically, I just want to say that I think that's the first step, is realizing that you actually, in this day and age, don't need a man to have a baby. So I think that's the first thing. You can have kids. And also, lest we forget, Kourtney Kardashian, who's just had a baby at like over 40. So you can, obviously the chances go down, but you can still have kids when you're in your 40s or 40, whatever. But I think the important thing is to separate it from dating, because when you're dating somebody, I think you should definitely have the conversation like, do you want to have kids? Do you want to get married? But if you meet somebody and they're super fun and you get on with them and they don't want kids, I think you can still have fun with them, but just keep them in a casual box. Don't go exclusive with them. Don't fall in love with them. Don't, mesh families or anything. Just say, okay, that's fine. I still really want to keep seeing you, but obviously we can only be casual. And then as you're doing that, still keep on trying to date other people until you meet somebody that actually, wants to have kids, and somebody that you want to have kids with. Like, you don't want to have kids with, just anybody, do you? I know obviously there's different circumstances and stuff, but I think ideally nobody wants a child with somebody that they don't like. And I just think I just think you've got to separate it. And I don't know, this might be naive of me, but I just think don't let that stress take over your life. The same like with getting married. Like if you're stressed, you're not married by a certain age, I just think you can lose out or like miss out on a lot of fun and a lot of good opportunities because someone is taking over your mind. So I've recently been reading a lot about the let them theory, and I think Mel Robbins is the one that made it all up. Have I mentioned it on here before? Sorry if I have. But basically it's this whole theory of letting everything go and letting control go. And I think that's like a big part of happiness. I'm reading all about it now, like letting go of how you think things should have been or should be turning out or where you should be. And I think as soon as you let that control go, you just become a little bit lighter. It's like when you focus on something all the time, it's just not fun, and I don't think it attracts good vibes at all. So basically, when I was younger, I was convinced that I couldn't have kids, right? For good reason, to be fair, which, I'm leaving it at that. But I was convinced I couldn't have kids. And when I say convinced, I mean I was crying every night at 19. I was so not ready for kids. I'm not even ready now, barely. And I was 19 and I used to sob every night, like convinced I couldn't have them. And I basically had to accept that, okay, I might not have kids and that's okay. And then as soon as I started to accept that, like, well, I don't know if I do want them actually, and maybe I won't. And if I don't, then that's okay. And as soon as I accepted that, it genuinely just changed my life. I've never cried about it since. And I'm not saying I did this straight away. It took me probably 2 or 3 years, like, to get over. But when I let that go, now I don't think about it and I don't have that stress. I definitely do want children. But only recently I've even started to admit that to myself. I've always been like, I don't know. And I think when you just come to at peace with maybe something won't happen. This can go for anything, like a job or relationship, marriage, wherever. I think, you can only control how you feel about something. So you might as well start to feel good about it. You might as well start to feel like, wow, I'm in my late 30s and I can do whatever the hell I want. I can go out, I can rot in bed all day if I want. I can do quite literally whatever I want. And that's a blessing, because by next year you might have a baby and you might be thinking, Jesus Christ, I wish I didn't waste my time as a non-parent stressing over being a parent. Like when I was 25, I felt like I was over the hill. I felt like my life was over at 25. Now I look back and I'm like, my God, how stupid was I? I wish I just enjoyed that year a little bit more than give myself chronic anxiety for not having a career. I've got a career now. Am I any happier? Do you know what I mean? You've just gotta go with the flow, I think, is my point. Oh my God, I've actually got the wildest story for you that I saw this week on TikTok, obviously. The woman's name is Ellidy Pullin, and she's got her own podcast and stuff. So if you want to Google her, then literally the story's crazy. So it's all over the internet and stuff, and she talks about it a lot. So basically, this woman was with her partner for 8 years. They lived in Australia, and he went out diving one morning, like he has always done, and she went out for a walk. And she said, as she was on her walk, something just stopped her in her tracks and just completely took her breath away. She said, like, it was like a jolt inside, and she could feel it. And she was like, what the hell has just happened? So she was a little bit worried. She was with her mother, I think. Anyway, and then she's walking back, and she can see the beach, and there's a lot of commotion there that somebody has been swept up, and she was thinking, please let her not be my partner, because obviously that feeling she just had, like imagine having that feeling and then seeing that, you'd be so worried. But she walks down towards the beach and said, like, oh, my boyfriend's been out diving, and tragically it was him, and he drowned and he passed away that morning. So that was obviously so devastating, but I can't believe that she felt it in her chest. When she was saying that part, I was like, that is crazy how you're so close with somebody, like the universe ties you together and you can feel when something's wrong. I just thought that was just the most sad but amazing thing. Anyway, that's not even the end of the story. So before he passed away, they were trying for a baby. And as he'd died, her brother had read somewhere about sperm retrieval. So you've got 36 hours after somebody dies, after a male dies, that you can retrieve their sperm. So she had 10 hours left to the deadline, and she managed to retrieve her partner's sperm. And after 2 rounds of IVF with her, she got pregnant, and now she's got a little girl. Is that not the most amazing story? And like, to bring something so lucky and joyous out of such a tragedy, I just think, wow. Life sometimes just comes at you like hard and fast, because that is just amazing. And it just shows that you never know what's around the corner. Like, there's people out there with partners that can't have kids, or with somebody that they absolutely love and they don't want to have kids, but you love them and they, stuck. Like, there's so many different situations, but you just never know what's going to happen and how quickly your life can change. And I just thought that was, oh my God, such an amazing story. So yeah, Google her, guys. Her name, I'll put it down in the show notes. But yeah, what a story. Okay, let's have a little intermittence. Is that the word? A little break for one of you guys' stories of the week. So it's quite a short one, actually. He said, a few years ago, I met up with a girl I'd been talking to on a dating site. I was banned from driving at the time, so my dad dropped me off. We had a good time and went back to her house for the night. We had good sex for most of the night. I don't know if that means that it was good for most of the night and then it went bad, or if you just had sex for most of the night before you went to sleep. Hopefully the latter. But he said, we had good sex for most of the night. It wasn't until I woke up and went downstairs that I saw photos of her and her family. Turns out she was married with a child. The child was at her parents' house and her husband was working nights. Can I just say, working nights, not even working away. Like, that woman knew what she had to do and she moved fast. She was like, I've got 9 hours max, so let's get this show on the road. Wow. Imagine he finishes shift early. This is what I don't get. People just live their life crazy. Like, the chances that guy could have finished his shift early and come home are pretty high. She was really playing with fire. Obviously she didn't care. He said, the thing is, she told me on the date she was single with no kids. When I confronted her, she eventually admitted her husband didn't give her any excitement, so she wanted to experience that with me. I mean, pop off, girl. You really did that. I think it's really sad when people lie that they haven't got kids, though. Do you remember that? We had a story before from a woman and the same thing happened. He said that he hadn't had kids, but he wanted them, and he had like 2 of his own kids. I think that's really sad, because you can still, don't lie about the kid. Like, say you've got a child, but you're separated, lie about your partner, fair enough. But don't lie about your child. That makes me sad. I also just think, if I was doing that, like, you've really got to not care about anybody's feelings. If you're leaving the pictures up as well, like, what did you think was going to happen? I'm like that type of person that, I wouldn't do it now. But when I used to have boyfriends when I was younger, and they used to come up, obviously, when I was living with my parents, I used to like hide any embarrassing pictures of me, like ugly ones that my mother used to have up and stuff. I just can't imagine leaving pictures of my child and my husband around when I'm having my like sordid little love affair for the night. Like, think smarter, people. Obviously, unless that's part of the fantasy, getting caught, because, yeah, you are playing with fire and doing that when your husband's just on nights. On nights! Poor man's working the night shift. He actually specified in the message that the night shift was driving lorries. Man's been driving all night on those long, dark, lonely roads and then comes home to find somebody else in his bed. Like, the audacity on it. It's bold, although I've got to be honest, and I know this isn't very feminism of me, or very feminist, I should say, of me, but I'm just going to say it makes a change to have a story like that sent in from a guy, and for that, we're here for it. I love my male listeners, not that I wish any badness on you, but I like that we've got some male listeners that go through shit as well. Guys, I've got to tell you this, right? It's so random, but I've realised there's been on my mind and I haven't told a single person about it. And I've just gone in my notes app and I've seen that I wrote it down to tell you like days ago. It's so random. I was on the tube the other morning, peak time, yeah? I'm on the morning commute getting into London City by 9 a.m, right? You can imagine how rammed it is. There's a girl on there knitting. On her feet, by the way, not sat down, fully stood up with the 2 needles, weaving a little pattern. I was so beyond shook because I can't even hold my phone in the morning. Sometimes I'm like this. I can't even hold it. Sometimes I can't even keep my bag on my shoulder and I'm holding it down. And this woman somehow found the space and the confidence to bring her knitting needles and like knit a cardigan on her way to work. It was quite a sight to see, actually. I was happy for it. But I just wanted to share that with you. I've also just remembered that I saved this story that I saw again. And you know that the trend on TikTok says my Roman Empire, and it basically means like something that you can't stop thinking about. And this woman said, this relates to the baby story earlier. This woman said, my Roman Empire is that I was diagnosed infertile while trying for 6 years with my ex, and he left because he wanted kids of his own, and I got with my childhood crush years later, and we immediately got pregnant with no help. The doctor couldn't figure out how because life truly knows who you were always meant to be with. Can you get over that? So she was trying for 6 years for a baby with her ex and no luck, and she got diagnosed infertile. So they broke up literally because of that, because he wanted kids. And then she got with her childhood crush. It's given invisible string theory, and she got pregnant straight away. So yeah, that's a little story that I saved previously that just wanted to reiterate that, you know, you never know what's going to happen, basically. Never know what life is going to bring to you. Right, okay, so going back to the requests that I asked for on Instagram, somebody said, I'm 29 and single and I need advice on how to meet people that are not into online dating. This is really hard, I think. 29 was actually the age that I went on a dating app for the first time. And I think the timing of that was not my age, but it was like after lockdown. And I definitely think after lockdown was like a big change because I never wanted to go on dating apps before and I never felt the need to at all. And then after lockdown, I do think things just changed. People appreciate being out more to see their friends, I think, and everything became online, didn't it? So then I think now people separate their lives basically and they're like, online dating is to meet somebody. And then when I'm out, I'm either with my friends or maybe if I want to get laid, I'll like chat somebody up wherever. But I've definitely can see or feel a difference in it. Although I've got to say, if you live in London, I can give you literal names of locations. I think I've said this before. The Ned on a Thursday, everyone is on the pole there, so you can definitely chat to people then. Lots of like banker wankers, but still. The Ship on a Sunday in the summer, everyone is on heat there. It is feral, so you can definitely find somebody there. And on the weekend, I did go out to Soho Central, and I do feel like when you go to those places, guys are also just on it. I don't know why or what it is. I don't know if it's because lots of them are not British in Central, so there's like more of a forwardness. But I always find that the guys are quite intense and crazy there. I've never been so honest with people. Usually I'm like, oh no, nice, you know, oh, whatever, I'll chat and palm them off. I was literally on the weekend, I said to one guy, I was like, I can't stress enough how much I'm not interested. Thank you so much, but I'm really not interested. And he was still like, well, there's no chance. And I was like, looking him dead in the eye. I never do that. I'm never that forward. But I was like, there's literally no chance. I am really not interested, but thank you. They just didn't care. They just did not care. So Central London on a Saturday night also. They are my tips for actual places. However, here are what you guys said back. So we've got some advice now from you lot. Somebody said go to church, and that cracked me up so much. Can you find a bad person in church? I mean, probably, given the shit you read, but it might be a good place to start. Somebody said the Thursday app, which I don't know what this is, but she said it's face-to-face meetups. Should I Google it? Thursday app. Ooh, Thursday invites all dating app users in your city to gather at a single venue every Thursday night. Oh, wow. I've seen the advert for this on the tube. I recognise the logo now. So it's a bar every single Thursday just for singles. So you go every Thursday and it's only live for those 24 hours and then it's in a different location. And then the app shows you the people that are going to go just for that day. Oh my God, they're everywhere. North America, Europe and Asia, and India and Australia. Oh my God, love that. That's a really good idea because you know the people go there to meet somebody because it's only for the day. So they've got to act fast and it's going to be just full of singles. So that's a really good shout. Somebody else said, join a group, i.e. running club, and then you'll meet people who enjoy similar things as you. Agreed. I think it's also nice to meet somebody in a hobby type club like that because I think it's good to not always meet people on nights out and stuff. I think I'm bad for that because I don't do any other clubs. So I've always enjoyed meeting people on nights out, but it does make sense to meet somebody. If you're looking for like a relationship especially, if you meet somebody in a running club or walking club, then that's what you can do together every weekend. So that's a good shout. Through friends, which sounds easy, but depends on how many friends you've got because I've got about 4. So that'd be a no from me, but you know, hopefully you've got a big group. Don't look, just be your best self and let good people radiate towards you. I love that. And I do think that's true. I don't think the saying, like the cliche, when you stop looking, that's when it'll happen. But I think it's a similar thing to what I was saying earlier, that when you let go and you let the control go, then generally better things happen. Because I do find when you focus on something and when you focus negative energy on it, you know how I feel about like manifesting and positive energy and all the rest of it. When you focus negative energy on something, then I think it basically manifests more negativity. So you are better off being active and going to look, like going, you know, still doing things that might help you meet people. Like you can't just sit at home and expect somebody to like burst through the door. But you can do things for you. So go to a running club, not hoping you're going to meet somebody, but go for you. And then maybe you will meet somebody. It's just like having a bit of a different outlook, innit? Speed dating nights. Yes, I think that's good because we are living in a very fast time now. Nobody wants to waste their time with people. People just want to get straight to it, straight down to it. And I also think that's the thing with dating apps. Like, who's on a dating app chatting for ages? Who's got the time for it? Like, I want to be asked out straight away, you know? Because otherwise, that's what I think with dating apps is you become so disposable. You have to go in hard and fast and pick your person and message them and do it. Otherwise, they're just going to get lost. This one's interesting. Write down 10 things you want in a person, then write down where you would find that type and go there. That is something similar to what Stephen Bartlett said, so it's very wise, when he said, you know, if you're looking for a certain type of person, then don't keep going out to places where those people are not. So, yeah, if you like somebody that runs, walks, reads, goes for coffees, then go to those types of... I'm sorry. I don't know who on the list is writing. What are you looking for in a guy? Somebody who likes coffees? Like, what am I on about? You know what I mean, guys, I think, and I hope. And somebody also said, I feel that I heal too much and no one is interested enough now. I need advice. I see memes about that all the time. Like, when you took the self-healing too far, now you've got nobody. Like, nothing is in your phone. You've got literally no drama. I think that's a really good place to be. And the best advice is to keep doing that. And I do think when you radiate good energy, then good things come to you. But you have got to get out there. Because I have got friends that are like, oh God, I can't believe I'm still single. And they don't go on a dating app and they don't go out. And I'm like, well, obviously you're going to be single, because what do you expect to happen? Somebody to burst through your doors? A burglar? That's not what you want. You know, imagine a burglar comes in and and he's low-key hot. And you're like, wait, you've got nice eyes. Can you take that balaclava off? Let me see what we're working with. I mean, I'm sure that's a fetish somewhere. There's definitely somebody role-playing burglar or home invasion somewhere, I'm sure. Anyway, or shall I read another story? I feel like usually I read a story of the week, don't I? But because this one was short, it's a very different episode to usual, which is what I wanted for the 100th episode. Yet here I am, resisting change. Let me see if I've got another wee story for us. Also, guys, always let me know, like, if you want me to talk about anything, just literally send me a DM or an email. You don't even have to go into detail. Like, these people just literally send one-liners, because, you know, obviously we always want to chat about stuff. So yeah, just let me know. Okay, here we go. I've got another one. Recently, this girl approached me and asked me if I would be interested in sleeping with her while her husband watches. She said her husband is okay with it because he knows he can't satisfy her on his own and gets more of a kick out of watching. She also told me that they have had sex a few times while she says my name and talks dirty to him while saying my name. Help. I mean, I don't think you were the one that needs help there, mate. I feel sorry for the husband. It's got to be a turn on for him, though. You know, like how some people like to be degraded. That's the vibe I'm getting, because otherwise, if that wasn't your fantasy, being degraded, you'd never be able to cope having your partner scream somebody else's name, would you? So, I mean, last week we had the whole thing. We know it's a fantasy where a guy gets his girlfriend to have sex with somebody else. But this is a little bit different because she's saying he doesn't satisfy her and stuff. I mean, I'm pretty open with stuff like this. I'm like, if you want it, then just do it. It's not really your problem what happens, as long as you can have a good time. And as long as everyone's consensual, then why not? I'm just that type of person that catch me on a certain day and I'm just like, YOLO, do it for the plot, you know? Not that I would be doing that, I don't think. But, yeah, why not? I mean, what else are you going to be doing with your time, you know? Might as well. That's my advice, guys. I think that's the theme of the episode, is going with the flow, even though sometimes I very much go so against the flow. It's not true. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I do just want to say thank you so much for listening and for getting involved. And even, like, these little things might not be much for you, right? But for me to put on my Instagram, send me stories or what do you want to talk about, and have even one person answer, that means a lot. Because if you didn't, then I wouldn't have any of that, would I? I wouldn't have any, you know, content or anything to chat to you about. So even like the littlest of things that you do that think don't mean anything, they actually mean so much to me. And like I said, if I go on Spotify and my reviews have gone up by 1, and I'm like, wow, 1 extra person has done it, it really does mean a lot. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone that does listen, especially every week. And if you've ever sent me a message saying you enjoy it, it really does mean a lot. And yeah, make sure you tune in next week. Don't love me and leave me here. Let's get to 101 episodes. And yeah, remember to send me a DM or send me an email. All the details are in the show notes. And yeah, I will speak to you next week. Thanks.